Traditional aircraft or canard aircraft? Which one is better? Well, today I'll be answering that question and of course, many more. So airplane designs have been taking inspiration from nature for quite some time now. At least when it comes to the layout of lifts and of course, keeping the aircraft stable. But what if millions of years of evolution went down the wrong path? So based off my singular Google search, I found that the reason we don't see canard aircraft as much as we see traditional ones is because although they do provide more lift and have better aerodynamics, they lack in the stability department. Now I don't know about you, but I think a little less lift and a little more drag is worth the stability for something like the 747 that seats over 850 people. But of course, that's the physics in real life. We need to test it here in Trailmakers. So if you look here, I have two separate planes, and of course they are the exact same dimensions, but the wings are flipped. So go ahead and leave a comment right now on which one that you think is going to fly better, at least here in Trailmakers. So with that said, let's go ahead and take off. Here we go. As you guys can see on the back there, I basically just have two thrusters. And yeah, that's the only form of thrust that we have. And so far, I don't know about you guys, but it's looking pretty stable. I mean, the roll's a little weird because, you know, we have roll technically with the front little wings there and then also with the back as well. I did trim it out a little bit, you know, with both of the planes. I tried to make fly as best as I possibly could. But honestly, this one is feeling very, very clean so far. Oh, come on. Ooh. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I have a pretty decent amount of control. It is a little spaz when I like pull up on the stick there. It's a little harsh, but I couldn't really fix that. But honestly, it is Trailmakers, and I'm not the best at planes, at least when it comes to Trailmakers. But so far, you guys can see that this thing's extremely, extremely smooth. It's extremely light as well. And all I have is two forms of lift there in the very front. So, I mean, so far, it's so good. I'm going to try and just follow this road. Uh-oh. Okay, wow, I broke the sound barrier apparently. But yeah, basically, as I was trying to say there, I'm going to try and follow that road the best that I possibly can with both of these planes. And of course, if I go farther with one rather than the other, then it's kind of a good test to see on which is like a better, easier plane to control, I guess. But so far, I'm a lot lower than where I was in comparison to the last plane. So let me gain a little bit of altitude and then I'll go ahead and drop down here. But this one feels strange. I don't know if it's because, you know, the vertical stabilizers in the back are like very different than your traditional plane. But I did want to keep the weight and the thrust and of course forms of lift exactly the same. At least when it comes to both planes. But so far, this is feeling pretty good. I mean, I don't have any differences in comparison to the other one. Besides this one's lift, at least when I pull up, is a lot more gradual and it's not as like intense and sharp. But then again, the last plane had a billion of those little wing pieces in the back that don't actually provide lift, but they do provide like changing direction. But you know, so far, this one's feeling a lot smoother, and this is where I actually crashed last time, and I did surpass it. So, you know, maybe, just with that simple little test there, you know, this one does fly a little bit better. Now, this one does feel a little bit slower. Now, like I said, the weight is like extremely, extremely similar, but yeah, I mean, so far, the traditional aircraft has won on this test. Moving on to test 2. Alright, so I'm here on Maze Valley, and you guys can see that this runway is very smooth and very clean. And yes, we all know that whenever you make a plane in this game, it's pretty easy to take off, even if you don't have landing gear like this. But the test I'm going to be trying to, well, test out, is to see if this plane can land safely in comparison to your traditional plane. This one is apparently not as stable, but honestly, it does have more lift. That's at least what I found from the Google search here. And you can see that, my gosh, I am going so slow and it is so hard to stall. I landed, what is that? Maybe like 20, 30 feet? That's not bad. That's not bad at all. All right, here we go. Taking off with your traditional aircraft here. Now, this one, it does feel a little bit different now that I am in the air. I know I haven't really done any crazy controls, but honestly, it just feels a little a little weird. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's the lift. You know, we have a lot of lift in the front, but not as much in the back. And the other one surprisingly has less wings, which is kind of weird because that one feels like it has more lift. But, ooh, we're stalling hard on this one. Very hard. Ooh, man. So, okay, this is a lot harder to land. Ooh, come on, cartwheel and land. Okay, nope. Can we recover though? Okay, come on, don't hit the cliff. Okay, so this plane is really only stable when we are in a forward motion. But if I'm just trying to land, you guys can see here that it is just so not that stable. And yeah, it's just not as nice as the canard layout. So this is kind of interesting, right? Because in comparison to both of the planes, although the canard aircraft doesn't fly as stable, I guess, at lower speeds, it seems to be a lot better. Now, of course, I am just talking about here in Trailmakers, not talking about real life. So for those of you trying to correct me in the comments right now, just remember, I'm doing this test here in Trailmakers. So stability in the air, of course, I'm giving it to the traditional aircraft, but when it comes to stability for landing at lower speeds, of course, I'm giving it to the canard. All right, moving on to test number 3. This one's actually kind of a surprise. So if you look right here, you can see I have a total of 9 extra thrusters that I'm glitching into this aircraft. And of course, if you haven't guessed it yet, we're gonna see which aircraft tests better at higher speeds. So of course, I have trimmed this one just a little bit, so you know, the controls aren't as harsh. But yeah, dude, it's fast. Let's see. So nearly 300 miles an hour. Okay, we are 300 miles an hour. That seems to be the top speed. But yeah, this amount of lift on here is insane. The control feels really good. Now, I'm gonna try and like purposely, you know, roll as fast as I can. And really just like, whoa, that was weird. That was really weird. Did you see that? But yeah, basically, I'm gonna try and push this thing to its limits and see what the actual problem is on keeping this thing stable, or maybe it just doesn't fly well at all. I don't know. So far, it's okay, but it does some weird little cartwheel thing mid-air. So basically, I'm just gonna try some stunts. Not like that. User error. Sorry, everybody. So when I'm trying to like pull up and also like turn at the same time is where I see that there's a lack of stability for sure. Like, yes, it's doing the same exact flight pattern when I'm doing that, and it doesn't do anything unpredictable, but sometimes it just, I don't know if it's like the lack of vertical stability or what it is, but it seems to just get a little wobbly in the back end. Now, of course, this isn't like detrimental to the flight pattern, at least when you're up here in the air, but when it comes to like, you know, maybe dog fighting or, you know, like you saw over there when I was taking off originally, it kind of just does a weird, like that. Like what, it kind of like fishtails a little bit. It's very strange. Okay, so basically I have the same exact plane, but of course the wings are flipped and I added all the same exact thrusters that I did on this one here. Now I feel like the problem that I'm going to be running into is the thrust in comparison to lift. This one just kind of has a lot of lift here in the front, but yeah, the amount of thrust towards the bottom half is definitely going to try and, you know, make this thing do a backflip. But of course, we need to test that. So let's see. Okay. Ooh, I'm not even trying to pull up. I'm just trying to keep this thing in a straight line. Okay. Okay. That's not good. All right. Well, maybe I should take off some of the lift and basically just replace it with some of these guys, maybe. Now, unfortunately, this might add a little bit more weight in the front, but that's maybe what this thing needs. All right, takeoff number 2 with our first adjustment. Oh, that's so not good. Oh my goodness. All right, well, some of you are probably a lot smarter than me, and you know exactly what is happening right now. But I do not. So I guess the only things that I'm going to try and at least to attempt is taking out these and then of course adding the wings back, but I'm gonna need to actually scoot them backwards so that the lift is not so far in the front in comparison to the thrust. So I'm going to be doing this one block at a time, but of course it might change the direction of everything with this plane. But so far, it's not as bad as what it used to be. I know we're not flying, but yeah, it's not as bad as what it used to be. So let's scoot it back again, and then this one again. And now we'll try taking off again. So here we go. Oh, interesting. Oh, it's a lot more stable. Okay, so the lift is, of course, further back, but I feel like the tail is now way too close to the center of lift. So stability is just not there. Okay, so instead of moving the entire tail back, I just made the tail even wider. Now, of course, this is going to be adding more drag within those at least flat blocks that are, you know, more towards the center there. But let's take off and let's see if this is going to help at all. So far, it has. Look at that. That's actually kind of sweet, man. But you know what? It's starting to look a little bit more similar to a canard than in your traditional aircraft. So maybe we have a winner here. No, but seriously, this thing feels very, very stable. Now, in comparison to the lift to thrust, the thrust is a little bit higher than the lift. So it is nosing down a little bit. Ooh, my goodness. This is definitely a lot more stable than the canard, but it's your traditional aircraft that's starting to be like a morph of both, you know, traditional and also the canard. So I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments down below. We're gonna come in for a landing with this one and then also the canard to do the final test because, you know, we're going way faster now. But yeah, so here we go. Let's do a quick little wrap around here. Oh man, I can't see. I can't see. Okay, so this one's lift is kind of similar, but it's a lot more stable because of its tail being so much bigger. So here we go. Oh, dude, this is easy. I feel like I'm on rails right now. So easy. I'm just like throttle a little bit, and look at that. That's not bad at all. You know, jumping back to this one, I realize how not stable this is in comparison. My goodness, dude, look at how wobbly it is in the air. At low speeds, it's very nice. It is very, very nice. I'd say, honestly, at low speeds, this thing feels a lot more glidey and a lot more stable than your traditional aircraft. But yeah, high speeds, no way, bro. Not even close to your traditional aircraft. Well, what aircraft was your favorite? Don't forget to comment down below which one that you're gonna maybe try building or which one that you thought flew the best. Of course, from my test, I realized that the traditional aircraft does fly a little bit better. But when it comes to low speeds, I do actually like the canard a little bit more. Although it is a little bit more unpredictable, it's very, very fun. Well, that's it from me. My name is LittleCornDogs, and of course, I will see you guys in the next one.